Well, hello and welcome and welcome and hello and welcome, welcome and hello. Welcome to a very, very special and in fact, riveting, possibly life-changing edition of Un Poco Mas, the only show on YouTube where you get a chunky, middle-aged douche talking stocks. And we bring it to you with a zest and a vigor only we can. We have the great Not a Lurker standing by to moderate you and smack you over the head with a wrench if the need arises. Let's see what we can do. This one's going to be quick because I already talked to you for way too long about SMCI, but now I want to talk to you about an extremely popular stock, Palantir Technologies Incorporated, ticker symbol PLTR. I've talked a few times about the fact the last time I was in this stock, I bought like 8 and I sold 18, 19 before that little pop. Again, I'm going back to comparing this to SoFi because the exact same players are there. I just talked about them with SMCI. Top three, again, exact top three: Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, the exact same top three with SoFi. Top 2 out of the 3 with SMCI, and I think State Street was 5th. If you go down, same exact players, Morgan Fudley, Renaissance, Geode, State Street. So same companies are running it up. Same insider ownership as SoFi, 50%. A similar insider ownership. I think SoFi is 4, Palantir is 5. But what you see with Palantir is insiders are exercising options and then dumping at the highs, selling some of the shares at the highs. Just go back to the parallels with SoFi. Basically, I can show you the chart. I can tell you what I think is going to happen, if this thing's going to break down, if it's going to go up, based on technical nonsense, gibberish, retracements, lines, a bunch of horizontal lines, some diagonal lines, pretty much all you have to show. But take a look at this candle. This is Palantir on August 5th. Take a look at the exact same candle, SoFi on August 5th. Take a look at the move from SoFi here on 10/14. You're going to see a corresponding, sorry, I'm a little bit low, but you're going to see a corresponding move. Okay, that was 10/19. Little bit off on that one, but then this move coming back 10/5, you'll see that exact candle, and then this other move 10/8. So you see the same algos working on the stock, same exact candles. You see a very similar high and retracement. You see Palantir come off of, in a similar time frame of SoFi, come off of 25, which was beginning of August, and then top out, after gaining over 3x, like 3.5x. So SoFi, was very, very similar move, very similar chart. You can look at them for yourself. So, again, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, these are the masters of the universe. They're the biggest institutional investors in the world, and they move stocks. And they move stocks very quickly, very unexpectedly. Fools like me who bought at 8 and sold at 18, made 100% in less than a year. We thought we were geniuses. I know Tevis fell victim to the same mindset. And I don't think it's wrong. I mean, I don't think you can ever fault yourself for taking over 100% profit in a relatively short time frame. But in this instance, obviously, it didn't work out too well for either of us. But if you take a look at these guys, you understand they probably sold the top. I mean, at least to a certain degree, they traded it. I look at institutional ownership and then look at the price. You see it remains fairly steady here until this thing just absolutely explodes and redoubles in November. So you see, where does this start to go absolutely insane? It reaches this low here, sort of pushed down artificially, end of November, or end of October, you were starting to see filings there. And then institutional ownership in November just absolutely explodes by like 30% off of this. So, you're at 900 million shares, or 900 million shares, I guess it would be, because there's like 2.2 billion shares outstanding. And then that jumps all the way up from, 30 percentile ranges to, 50%, seemingly overnight. But they're running the stock up and then they're selling the top because that's what they do. And then you look at the difference in retracement, you can see the algo keeps working much harder on SoFi. You keep seeing the shark tooth pattern, the consistent waves, because there's more, I think, retail rushing into the top here. And I think there's more insiders and institutions dumping the top here. But taking a look at this line is where the algo is working since beginning of August. So you see, comes down, tests the support once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, breaks down a little bit. Then you see this huge pop 1st of November and goes all the way up and comes back down, tests this line again of support, and it holds up and then pops back up to 70. So what's likely to happen? People are like, well, would you buy here? No. I just have a huge problem buying a stock, that just 10x'd off the bottom the last couple years, unless it's justified by just massive expansion in sales and multiples. Perhaps looking at something like NVIDIA in that respect. That's where you might chase because the future's so bright. It's so tangible. You see the use cases. These things run away from you. And if this thing runs back through 80 and just keeps cutting, I would just have to let it go because I can't get to the multiple. Now, I think if it breaks down below this line, these are the next couple of support levels, you could be looking to break through. So if you're somebody that missed this run and you really want to own the company, if you don't think it's going to break down at all, maybe look for 75. Or 65, pardon me. If it breaks down below 65, look for 58. If you think, this whole move that it made, if you see the January come in and you see market makers just sold the hell out of the top, just really dumped the stock throughout the end of Q4, I would wait and, think it will break down below 58. And then in that case, I would be looking to buy just before it hit 45, because I think if it gets down anywhere near this level, I think it'll reverse really hard and go up very rapidly, because that's what they do. They bang it off the bottom hard, dramatic, just smash it off the floor. And they want to own more of this. Institutions don't want this to go up to 500 some years from now and only own half of it. They want to own 85, 90% of it before they send it up to the sky. So they got to get you turds off the stock. I mean, if you're stupid like me, you already sold them your shares at 18. Probably sold most of my shares to Amit, who's probably going to be a billionaire. But I mean, honestly, you see, I compare this to SoFi with very good reason, because they have similar growth rates, similar financials. I know Palantir, it's different because they're going to have, better margins, and they have other assets, they have cash, they have investments. So they should be trading at a higher multiple than SoFi, maybe triple SoFi's value, maybe 4 times, something in that range. But keep in mind, they're trading like 10x SoFi's value. And if you read this article, they're talking about how free cash flow is exceeding dilution, stock-based compensation. But they're talking about, free cash flow increasing to something like $600, $700 million. So the stock is still trading something like, I don't know off the top of my head, what is it? Something like, I don't know, 230 times free cash flow. So it's just very hard to get there. And you say, okay, I just missed this run from Tesla, not only, where I first bought in 2016, but I got in and out. I made some good decisions. I made some bad decisions. C'est la vie. None of us are perfect. Certainly not me. I have a weakness for cheeseburgers, and that's widely known. So, I'm very sorry. But anyway, guys, welcome and hello to my latecomers. Hello and welcome, welcome and hello. People like, oh, you're just bitter because, you're this chunky middle-aged guy. Your second serve is failing you on the tennis courts. You're losing confidence. You're afraid of double faulting. You're just not bringing your A game. And I'm like, well, that really has nothing to do with anything. I am bitter that I sold the stock at 18 that I could have sold at 80. Perhaps there's some buyer's remorse there. Perhaps there's some sour grapes, and the stock's just going to run up to 500, and you turds are going to be, wealthy as all get out, and I'm still going to be wallowing in my misery trying to pump SoFi and NEO and SMCI and a bunch of losers, a bunch of penny stocks. Well, okay. I mean, there's some fairness. There's some fairness in that analysis, but the thing is, how do you get there? What are the use cases that this guy does a DCF model, and his assumptions are, 5 years at 35% CAGR. After that, he's basically saying 30% CAGR for the rest of time. And he gives some pretty rosy assumptions, and he still puts a fair value of the company, I believe, once he gets to the bottom line of $68. And I think his assumptions are, fairly optimistic. I mean, to put it mildly. So intrinsic value, $68. So he's saying it's just priced to perfection. It's not priced to perfection and then multiplied by 2 or priced to perfection and multiplied by 3. It's not a fairy tale. It's not old Mother Hubbard or something. Where do you buy it? I don't know. It's hard. Like, I'm not recommending anybody rush in and buy. I still think SoFi is ultimately going to go up. But I just think, in the world we're living in, there's a lot of instability. There's, with SoFi, possibility interest rates don't go down. People are saying could even go up, just depending on what happens. I'm getting my Danny Deals meme coin ready. I have not been able to get Elon on board, but planning to make a quick 60, 100 billion, just hang it up. I feel that if I had $100 billion, I could live comfortably for the rest of my life. I'd have to economize. Have to go to the Olive Garden, get the lunch special, get that half sandwich, breadsticks, and salad. $6.99. Got to adjust eating dinner before 4 p.m. Get my early bird senior discounts, but I think I can do it. I think I could stretch 100 billion. That's play money. That's Mitt Romney money. Yeah, I mean, well, AI policies are very, let's face it. I mean, if you guys understand like capture theory and iron triangles, these regulators, they always get captured by industry. Money moves everything. Just follow the money. That's why I've said in all my videos, I point out Palantir, SMCI, SoFi, the masters of the universe own and control these stocks. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, Geode. These guys, they don't get ahead of the idea and understand the fundamentals. They actually control the market. They set the prices. They control the narrative. They control all kinds of things, media, blogs. It's all a machine designed to part retail with their money. You look year after year after year, strongman is right. You guys can't beat the market because you're weak, stupid, impulsive, emotional. You can't beat the smartest guys from, Caltech and MIT and Harvard and every other, every other great school in the country and the world. They're all programming algos to take your money away. They hire, psychologists to profile you. And plus they own all your data. You think payment for order flow is free? You think all this free stuff is free? You think Robinhood and the rest of these putzes aren't loaning your shares out and working against you and selling everything you do so that market makers know exactly what you're going to do before you even going to do it? If you're about to scratch your balls in 10 seconds, market makers know that already. They know your balls itch. They know which one itches. They know if you're wearing boxers or briefs. And they hate you. And they think you're stupid. And they're right. And you're going to lose your money. But that's not really the point. Is, why is this so different than a stock like SoFi or a stock like SMCI? Well, here it is again. Vanguard, BlackRock. Number 3 is Peter Thiel. He doesn't tend to lose money that often either. Then State Street, extremely close. This is like a lot of people, though, Trump administration think increased spending, letting AI completely out of the box. It could be very, very good for Palantir. And I completely agree with that. But I still just think the growth is so priced in at this market cap that things have to go perfectly for a long, long time to grow into this valuation. You say, well, the use cases are there. It's like Tesla. Like Tesla has tangible real world use cases that come into focus with the new administration. It's not just robo-taxi, but it's the robots. They have use cases for their AI that are, fairly easy to see, and how that could be, monetized, scaled, profitable. It's not super hard to see. If you have these intelligent robots, whether they're cars or humanoid, it doesn't matter. They could be automated sources of revenue with huge margins. So you see that, and you see that with Palantir. You see what they do is very, very compelling, and nobody else can do it at this time. Now, that's in the battlefield space. That's in the government space. What they're doing on the consumer side, I would argue that their moat isn't quite, impenetrable. I think it's significant, but I think there are other people, other companies that could ultimately, if those margins and the growth are as big as people think they're going to be, there has to be competition in that space. You look at Carp, he has the 55 million shares. I mean, there's no doubt this guy is a patriot. He's, I think, a genius. I think he brings a hell of a lot to the table. But one thing this article makes a huge point about is they're just paying a lot in terms of dilution from stock-based compensation. They're just giving massive riches to, their top talent, which people would argue, hey, at this phase of their growth, that's what you have to do. But I would say, okay, if they're spinning off that much free cash, why do you need to dilute shareholders this level? Because shares went from like 2 billion, 1 point something and 2, then 2.2. So people are complaining about SoFi's stock-based compensation. I mean, this is madness. It's madness. I've been working with these miniature breads for an hour now. And, what if you just fold the meat? I can't fold it. Then it just breaks apart. Then it's like, oh yeah, I see. You need bigger bread then. So anyway, hello and welcome and hello. It's the great Billy Jack, my representative throughout the South in Texarkana. You know him, you love him. It's Billy Jack. We got Marco Guzar, loaded options, bought them on the dippy because I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. I don't know. I'm making bad trades, made bad trades in SMCI. Hey, you don't know if they're bad trades until they're done. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen yet. This one goes to 11. It does indeed, Jeremy. He's the only person I trust who wears those color change sunglasses. Most people, I find him creepy. But on Jeremy, they're somewhat enduring because he does look like a young Michael Keaton with a sort of a verbal Kent hairline from Usual Suspects. We got Steven Zunker coming out of the bunker. I don't have that much on TNXP. I owned that stock years ago when all the penny stocks were kind of going crazy, when everybody was getting ants in their pants from COVID, getting jiggy with it, and it ran up a little bit, and I made money. I lost money. I don't know what happened. Should switch places in market value. Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, you're right. This is my point. I'm not saying it's that extreme where Palantir should be 18 billion and SMCI should be 160, but I think it would be a lot more reasonable if Palantir was something around 50 billion and SMCI was something 70 billion. Something the multiples would still be out of whack. But SMCI is growing way, 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 way faster than Palantir. Way faster. And it's an AI play. It's just their CEO is, an older Asian guy, not some, trendy, cool guy with a funky haircut. Sector bias, other kinds of bias. He's not Jensen. He doesn't look super cool. He doesn't really have like nice Western features. Doesn't wear a cool leather jacket. Looks like some rock star. All these CEOs think they're rock stars now. It's like the celebrity chefs. Okay, you cook food. Like, we were going to have like rock star architects now where they get a bunch of housewives and they pack them into some little TV studio. And they're like, now we're going to show you architecture. Like, bam. Like, hey, we're going to put some garlic in this. Bam. It's like, what? Why is that super exciting? You're putting a bunch of garlic in a dish. Like, chefs have been doing this for eons. Like, oh, you want a little salt? Kick it up. Ah. And now everybody's cool. Now there's all these chefs out there who think they're freaking rock stars. I got to listen to Rachel Ray yammering on about me about how to make some crappy dish at home in 30 minutes. I can cook anything in 30 minutes. And why do you have to say EVOO and S&P? It takes longer than just saying olive oil or salt and pepper. It doesn't make you a better chef to say EVOO. God, I hate everybody. It's extra virgin olive oil. Great question by the studio audience. We have a live audience. Amazing. Beautiful audience. Fetching. Fetching, youthful, beautiful audience. Oh, I lost my concentration. The audience is so beautiful. Our live studio audience. Oh, brings a tear to my eye. I'm a lucky man. Own a bunch of shitty stocks, horrible judgment, aging poorly, knee pain, horrible second serve, but I got me a great woman. So from where I'm sitting pretty. Anyway, you turds, I hate you guys. I hate all of you, except Booker's. Booker's is okay. I like Jeremy Miller. I like Steven Zunker, if I'm honest. Okay, you got to love Not a Lurker. He's got a head like an igloo, that silly bastard. You got to love, we already talked about Jeremy Miller. Of course, we love Billy Jack. Everybody loves Billy Jack. The great Marco Guzar, we don't really know him, but so far, no complaints. Who else is here? Anybody? That's pretty much it. M. Russo. M. Russo, it just depends. I mean, if you want to hold this thing forever, I'm not somebody who tries to buy and sell all the time, but when a stock goes from 8 to 80, or then in a much shorter period of time, just like 4 months, goes from 25 to 80, I would have sold. I would have personally sold. I didn't own the shit. Well, shuck my oyster. It's Jason Joseph. Jason motherfucking Joseph. Well, where have you been, son? Jason Joseph. All right, JJ is here. All right, it's Un Poco Moss. Palantir valuation is pure insanity. SoFi is basically the same. That's what I've been harping on, like a broken record Karen, like a screeching Karen. Jason Joseph. Leave it to Jason Joseph to step back into our lives at Un Poco Moss after a complete unexplained absence. Going to be on Unsolved Mysteries. Why haven't we seen Jason Joseph? Where's Jason Joseph been? Is that a natural curl or is that a perm? Is he using just for men? Or does he have that great jet black hair? So many questions, very few answers. We'd like to welcome back the great Jason Joseph. Now, thanks for coming back, Jason. Chris H. Diarrhea. Yeah, I completely agree. Steven Zunker, howdy ho. It's your first Palantir video that I know of. Yeah, the only reason I made this, Steven, is just so many people were asking me, should I buy this dip? Everybody's calling this a dip right here. I'm like, okay, so yeah, it is a dip. It went all the way up to 85 and now, just touched 63 and then rebounded all the way to 7. I see this as going to be resistance here, where it was just support in this consolidation. I think it's going to be resistance right here. I think it's going to go back down through this line. That's what I think. But statistics say I am wrong about 94.5% of the time. And that's on a good year. That's on a Lunar New Year. Rest of the time, I really suck. No, guys, I don't know what you should do. I love this company. I like the growth, but I'm saying it's like Jason Joseph saying. Jason Joseph, once again, is the voice of reason. Once again. That's why we've been astray these last few months. That's why I've been making horrible picks, losing money hand over fist. JJ's been frequenting other channels. He's been moonlighting. Cheating on us with that stock mo, strongman. Meet Kevin. It's that guy, Jeremy. Oh, man. Just forgive yourself for Tattooed Chef already, homie. Just forgive yourself. I've said so much and done so much stupid shit in my life. If I dyed my hair and fake quit YouTube after every stupid thing I did, I would do nothing other than dye my hair and fake quit YouTube. So stop it, you guys. Stop it. I don't care if you look like a Smurf. Hold your head up high. I don't care if you're Canadian and you say right constantly. Right? Right? Am I right? Or am I right? Or am I right? Right? I don't know. I don't know why Canadians say right after everything. I don't know. Maybe it's code. Maybe it's code. It's code for we don't want a trade war. It doesn't make any sense. We're your ally. We stormed, the beaches of France with you in World War II. We were there with you every step of the way throughout Desert Storm. Now, don't stop threatening us, you big dumb fuck. I feel like Canadians are saying that. Like, why are you threatening us, you idiot? I mean, and I know, people love Trump and he's a good guy and Is that meme quite? I read some highlight on like Drudge Report that he made $60 billion. I don't know if that's true. I don't see how that could possibly be true. But I think they'll sell those. I think the insiders will sell those as fast as Palantir insiders can dump these shares. But is it going to go down through here and all the way to here? Probably not. You might catch support here and it might hold on tight. Institutions, might be happy to, load shares at 58, somewhere in that range. I don't think any institutions are going to buy up here. I just can't see it. Institutions don't chase like this. Institutions would rather short, pull the price down, hit the, get their media machine running with hit pieces and narratives and stories and targets. I mean, if you look at analyst estimates, average 48. And if you look at what I'm talking about on the chart, this is, I think you could easily see something in their high 40s, low 50s might be a good place to buy. If you're more aggressive, buying maybe high 50s, if it just doesn't break down anywhere below this line and the best you're going to get is like 66, 70, I would just have to let it go for now and see if competition materializes. There are some kind of setbacks that create another buying opportunity, a more attractive valuation. I can't chase this thing at, 150 plus billion dollar valuation. Not when it's, hundreds of times free cash flow, not when it's, these EPS, you see it's PE ratio. This is based on last year and a certain amount of 358. So I can't do it. I can't get there. I mean, if you look at this versus something like a SoFi or something like an SMCI, I just can't see it. 1 minute, guys. Hold on. I'll be right. Well, hello and welcome to me. Welcome back to me. What an exciting time to be me. There's never been a more exciting time to be a chunky middle-aged white guy, suburban dude. Anyway, guys, who else is here? The left nut itching. That's good news, Jeremy. I appreciate that. It's much better than the right. Steven Zungerhat with the big C. I'm thinking sell some gains on the stock I own, putting in a Neo. Don't judge. I'm just Billy Jack. I mean, I think the Neo has become so disconnected from reality. It's the same, price the stock was at when they weren't selling any cars. The thing was about to be bankrupt. If you look at what they're doing now, I think the valuation of Neo is just absurd. I think everybody's cherries building battery swap cars. Why would you want to join CATL's swap network when you have the option to join Neo's swap network? Neo already has over 3,000 swaps. Neo has more options. It's much more refined system. I mean, CATL just seems like it's like they're making this announcement into vapor, hoping they have 1,000 swaps by the end of 2025. Well, you know what? Listen, you're years behind Neo. I mean, and I know it sounds silly to say CATL is behind Neo technologically, but it's true. Look at the systems. Look at people that know. Look at people people think the CATL thing, they're getting ahead of themselves. I don't think there's going to be all these cars actually in production anytime soon. How do you sell a battery swap car with no battery swap network? Doesn't make any sense, Billy Jack. Doesn't make any sense. And if it don't make sense, it don't make dollars. You know what I mean? Oh, Stock Mo. Don't you talk about Stock Mo, Billy Jack. That's where I draw the line. I think you're really going to like what he has for you. Yeah. No, I know, Billy Jack. I mean, I'm not going to say like anything personal, but it's like the market knowledge is very shallow. Is playing in the shallow end. Like teaching high school does not qualify you to tell people anything. I used to teach at the high school level. Are you bragging about that? I don't know. But anyway, no. Dude, not a lurker. He's steady. But he's willing to commit extreme acts of violence when need be if people step out of line. He's the best in the business. When we go to the top, when we get that Howard Stern money, that Joe Rogan money, me and not a lurker, we're going to be rich as hell. But nobody recognizes our talent. Nobody recognizes our greatness in our time. We'll be like, Van Gogh or something. Like long after we're dead, then our work will be worth billions of dollars. But that don't buy us straight razors to shave our head. That don't buy Danny sliders or cheeseburgers. Recognize now. Game recognize game. Big bank eat little bank. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, here comes Dan Deals. Yeah. Like I said, forgot my glasses today. Everything's kind of hazy and headachy, and I can't really tell what I'm talking about. My glasses make me way smarter. Make me look a little bit smarter anyway. So yeah, that's just where I'm at. I don't think these multiples make any sense. I think you're getting in after these guys ran it up. You're getting in way too late after these guys ran it up. And I think what you're going to see is as this stock price comes back down to earth, institutional ownership is going to come back down. They're going to buy more in here. And then ultimately institutions will own almost all of this stock. But they're not going to buy this multiple. No way in hell. They just, I don't think anything, the growth rate doesn't justify it. The cash flows don't justify it. The eventual margins don't justify it. CAGR doesn't justify it. SMCI is growing way faster than them. SoFi is growing. In my opinion, this is just my opinion, you just don't have any vision or any sense if you buy Palantir at this level over SoFi. Just look, you're buying growth. It's like people get it wrong. You're not buying AI because it's AI. It's not magic beans. You're buying growth rate and margins. And you're assuming because it's not assuming, but you're making the calculation that because it's AI, it's going to have these high growth rates and high margins. But you can look at SoFi's business and you could say this is going to have a high growth rate and very strong margins. Maybe not the same margins as Palantir, but it's certainly not going to be 10 times the margin. SoFi is looking for 20% net minimum. Palantir is not going to have 200% margins. I assure you. I assure you of that. I think SoFi is going to have better margins than Palantir, going to be a bigger company than Palantir, and I think SoFi will eventually be more valuable than Palantir. I think there's going to be a lot of companies that compete with them on the commercial side. And maybe they won't catch up, but they'll certainly take a little bite out of their ass. So anyway, guys, the market can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent, and the only thing you can do is act irrational, load up on Palantir, dump some money. Jeez, Jeremy, that's you just blew my mind, man. Just blew my mind. What is fair market value of SoFi? I mean, in my opinion, or DCF, or most people that I trust on SoFi say fair market value is like 28, and Neo, it's very hard because they don't have a lot of book value. They don't have a tremendous amount of tangible assets. They have a huge amount of IP, patents, partnerships, subsidiaries, businesses, ancillary. Neo is really hard to evaluate, to get a good valuation on, but in my opinion, it's worth at least about 2.2 times current value, about $10, $11. It's my opinion. Obviously, they're not making money yet. SoFi, analyzing on, EPS or something just doesn't make any sense at this point because they just started making, their first nickel. Just had their first beer. Jeremy. SoFi is the next J. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Bookers. They're different. They're more innovative. They're going to have much better margins than JP Morgan. They're going to have this technology company is going to get cracking. That's where you're going to see the AI. That's where you're going to see the huge margins. That's where you're going to see this hybrid valuation, I think, morph into more of a tech-heavy valuation. And the lending business and all that they built a better mousetrap there too, but they're really going to sell access to this membership. They're going to have extremely high value members that other companies, businesses want to reach. you haven't even started to scratch the surface on SoFi. The wheel strategy hasn't started to work yet, and they're already achieving these incredible results and growth with two hands and their wiener tied behind their back. And that's not easy to do, guys. That's what you call a Texarkana hog tie. Learned that, Billy Jack. No, we kidnapped our boss at the end of the Christmas Vacation film. Shitter's full. Hold Palantir, buy SoFi. I can't disagree with you, Steven. I would probably hold both at this point and, buy CRISPR, buy Neo, buy some other things, buy healthcare stocks. There's a lot of things just grossly undervalued. Some of these biotechs, some of these medical device companies. I don't know why they're trading at such grotesquely low valuations of it. They are. Yeah, guys. So, Casual Tuesday. Hope so. It's Taco Tuesday. Today's Cheeseburger Wednesday. It's Danny Deals Thursday this week. And then it's Footstool Friday, guys. Everybody gets a free footstool with one episode of Un Poco Mas. Anyway, what do you guys think? What's the tell me down in the comments. Tell me down in the comments. I hate people that tell me down in the comments. Oh my God. Crazy. Anyway, that's not the point of this show. Neo is not profitable, but pull the curtain back. Billy Jack, Neo is a monster. Neo is an absolute monster. Why do you think the Chinese government's setting meetings with them? The president of Egypt, UAE, they're already in the UAE. They're already delivering cars in the UAE. Nothing is in the numbers. They put a negative valuation of a battery swap network that CATL is tripping all over their own ball sack to try to emulate, and they can't. Even Xpeng said, hey, once they get to 5,000 battery swaps, we'll consider joining. They're talking Jomi. And I'm not talking about that dude who can learn any language. That guy who used to be chubby, now he's a little bit thinner. I don't know if he went on Ozempic. He was only, semi-chunk anyway. Maybe a quarter chunk. I go full chunk. They say never go full chunk. Well, I did. And I wish I could look back, but I can't. I wonder what my feet look like. Oh, it's a mystery. Anyway, guys, it was a dark room, Steve. I don't know who knew that guy from that show who has that voice. He's like, was he Matthew Perry's stepfather? Like, on a dark road, you never knew the lawyer could be a murderer. Forget his name, Stacey something. I just can't remember. He has that white hair. He does his narrations of like unsolved mystery stuff. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. If you ever have spent any time as a bored insomniac, of course you did. But at the end of the road, who knew the farmhouse would contain a secret? Like, anyway, let's see. Buy a cheeseburger to prove not a lurker. Not a lurker. You do not have cheeseburger authorization. You are only a ranch only. Princess Jake can give cheeseburger authorization. And verdict denied. If you interrupt your narrative, please stop me. I think I can get you. Yes, Catch a Predator is always on Scrubs. Oh, yeah, was that it? Yeah. Scrubs was a pretty good show. Now, Zach Braff, very annoying. That movie with he's like Charles Grodin and Jason Bateman is in a wheelchair. And he's like a cheerleader. And he's like paraplegic, but he's still banging the guy's wife. I think Amanda P. Who can stand Amanda P? I don't know, guys. I just get the feeling if you spent 5 minutes trying to have a conversation with her in a room, you just want to smash your head into the door jamb until you're unconscious. But I don't know. What do I know? Don't know what that has to do with the valuation of Palantir or the price of tea in China. Very likely nothing. But anyway, this is a really good article. I encourage you to read it. This guy's bullish. Joseph Parrish, Moat data capture analysis. You guys know all this stuff about Palantir's free cash. Very impressive. Free cash flow grew 70% year on year, driven by new relative stable caps outpacing dilution effects. Share dilution is slowing, but option exercise continues, reflecting the attractiveness of Palantir's share price. Updated valuations has limited upside, but lower downside over the long term, warranting a hold rating. So he went from a buy to a hold. He's covered it twice before. It considered came across. So he's looking basically at shares that already climbed quite a bit the first half of 2024, and they're up 170% since my cover in June. How do you buy a stock's up 170% since its coverage in June? It's hard to do. With 2 more in Q4 results coming out of February 3rd, I want to catch up on my expectations. So the reported results, you guys know all this, but bottom line, his DCF model, and I already said this, leads to a result of $68. Shares outstanding grew 4.4% between 2022 and 2023. The year-to-date growth has been 3.2%. So on a relative basis, the dilution from stock-based compensation and other sources is slowing somewhat. Yet the exercise of options continue to precipitously increase share price, makes it attractive to those in possession of those to do so. And these options, there's billions and billions and billions of dollars that are going to put an artificial cap, not an artificial, a cap on this, because, you know, anytime the stock price gets too far up, it's just going to be, throwing shares into the ocean and, whistling all the way home with billions of dollars if you're an insider in this company. I mean, Peter Thiel, I think, owns $700 million worth of stock. Karp owns, ton of the stock himself. So, there's lots and lots of layers of people, underlings under them, that own tons and tons and tons of stock options. So it would likely, the intrinsic value dated for the end of Q3, the intrinsic value of these options, market price less exercise prices, would likely be over $10 billion by now. That's less than 7% of the current market cap, but it's more than 27% of the market cap a year ago. That just shows this staggering growth Palantir has seen the last little while, showing what a great deal the options are for the employees. I won't argue that it's unfair to them considering the value Palantir is creating, but outsiders looking to invest should consider how much easier it is for employees to take their money and run. It also shows how important valuation in these matters is. A lot of people say, hey, just buy the company. It's a great company. There's a lot of stocks you can do that. Google's a stock you can do that because it's not a trading stock. It's not a volatile stock. It's a fundamental stock. There's tons of institutional money in the stock. There's 80 analysts covering it. Anytime it dips to an unreasonable level, people just buy the stock all day. Same thing with Microsoft. Same thing. Tesla, you see these swings. Palantir, you're going to see these swings. It has to pull back. It can't run away from 80. How does it run away from 80? How did it get from 8 to 80? Vanguard pushed it here. BlackRock pushed it here. And I'm telling you, they're going to sell that top. It's just not going to push to 100. I can't see it right now. How do you get there? I don't even know if a guy like Amit could get there. I mean, I'm sure he could. He's smarter than me. He's managed to keep his weight at a reasonable level. Give him that. But anyway, guys, where would I hope to buy? I would hope to buy somewhere around 45. Are you going to get that opportunity? Probably not. But sometimes you just miss one and you got to let it go and realize there's other AI plays. There's other, undervalued stocks. If it was fair, if I thought it was a fair valuation, I could buy the future. I could buy the story. I could buy the fairy tale. I could buy the hype. I could buy the FOMO. But I just feel like it's just grossly overvalued at this point based on any reasonable metric that I know how to analyze, or any use case, any growth case. I mean, yeah, if you saw them growing like NVIDIA, like 100% growth rates, even SMCI growth rates, but they're growing like SoFi. They're at a scale of SoFi. It just makes no sense that they have 10 times valuation. But if Vanguard and BlackRock and State Street say it's worth 10 times, and they want to run it up there, we're powerless to stop them. All we can do, we don't drive the bus. We don't decide how fast it goes. We don't decide on the route. All we can do is decide when we get on the bus and when we get off the bus. We're in control of nothing other than our own money. Oh, so having said that, this has been Danny Deals. It's Un Poco Mas. I know you couldn't really glean any information or anything useful from this little Palantir romp we did, but hey, the stock's getting a lot of press, so I wanted to shamelessly bandwagon on Johnny come lately, if you will, and just talk Palantir. People are asking, should I buy? Should I sell? I would personally, if you're somebody who swing trades, if you're somebody who gets in and out of stocks, if you don't plan on holding this for the next 5 years, I would personally sell here. I'm certainly not telling you what to do. You're probably a lot smarter and better looking than I am. So you got to decide for yourself. Ask the missus, talk it over, take your time, and then come back and make a decision. Hey, let me leave you some of these brochures on the Wagner charting. And then when you're comfortable, you come back. Yeah, guys, it's the Hank Hill sales method. Anyway, muchas gracias, Jeremy Miller. A todos. A bien. I'm going to throw something out there that could be controversial. Amit and Tanner both invested in WAD, very bullish on NEO in the past. If you look at Neo and you look at what they're doing, it's impossible not to be bullish at $4. This valuation on Neo is stupid. This valuation is stupid. Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Soon Poco Moss. It's not a lurker stand deals. It's Alberto Bertiables, wherever he is. We appreciate you guys. Thanks. Have a great one. Peace.